The council chamber of the Galactic Concordance fell silent as General Vexter's laughter echoed off the crystalline walls. His scaled hand gestured dismissively toward the human standing before the assembly, her scarred fingers gripping the datapad containing humanity's petition for military alliance. These hands, the Keth general hissed, his reptilian features twisted in disdain. You expect us to believe that these burned, ruined appendages belong to a warrior? Look at her, esteemed council members. The humans send us their damaged ones to negotiate. Maralt stood perfectly still, expression unchanged. The burns covering her hands, angry pink scars from fingertips to forearms, had long since ceased causing her physical pain. She had grown accustomed to reactions like Vexter's. In a galaxy where most species possessed advanced regenerative capabilities or had eliminated workplace hazards millennia ago, her scars were an anomaly, an embarrassment, a sign of primitiveness. General Vexter, Maya began, her voice steady. These hands have served humanity well. They will continue to do so. Vexter clicked his mandibles in what passed for Keth amusement. What service can such grotesque tools provide? Surely your species has healers, regeneration chambers? Or are you truly so backward that you cannot even protect yourselves? A small voice cut through the tirade like a thermal blade through steel. Every head in the council chamber turned toward the source. A young apex sat in the observation gallery, the rarest species in the Concordance. Feline warriors whose adult forms commanded respect across 1,000 worlds. This pup was no more than 7 cycles old, with oversized ears and spots that would fade with maturity. Crix climbed down from his seat with careful dignity, golden eyes fixed on Meryl's hands with an intensity that made the surrounding delegates uncomfortable. Calyx, return to your seat, Vexter commanded, though his voice had lost some certainty. Even a Keth general knew better than to be too harsh with an apex pup in public. But Crix ignored him, padding across the polished floor until he stood directly before Maya. She crouched to meet his eyes. The pup reached out one soft paw, hesitating just before touching her scarred skin. May I? He asked. His voice carrying the formal inflection apex were taught from birth. Maya extended her hands, palms up. Crix traced the patterns of scar tissue with one claw tip, so gently it barely registered. His whiskers twitched as he concentrated. These scars follow burn patterns, he said, not looking up. Extreme heat, sustained exposure, were you forged in battle too? The question landed like a kinetic strike in the silence of the chamber. Maya felt something shift in her chest. This pup, a child of one of the galaxy's most fearsome warrior races, understood what vexed Thor and the others could not. He saw past the surface to the story written in her flesh. Yes, she said simply. In a way I was. Crix sat back on his hunches, tail curling around his paws. Will you tell me? Maya glanced at the council members and Vexter's confused expression. This wasn't the presentation she had planned, but the pup's earnest gaze demanded honesty. 3 years ago, our colony on Threshold 7 came under attack by the Scourge, she began. You might not know them. They haven't reached Concordance space yet. They're an automated war machine, left over from a war so old nobody remembers who built them. Crix's ears perked forward. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. The Scourge were a myth to most species, a cautionary tale told to younglings. Our defensive grid failed in the first wave, 17,000 colonists, including 300 children in the education center. The reactor powering our shields was going critical. If it exploded, everyone would die. Her fingers traced the worst of the scars, a starburst pattern across her left palm. Someone had to manually override the cooling system. It meant climbing inside the reactor housing while it was still active. The radiation alone should have killed whoever tried it. I was the chief engineer. It was my reactor, my responsibility. The protective suit lasted for minutes. My skin began to burn at 6. I finished the repair at 12 minutes. They tell me I walked out of that reactor chamber on my own before collapsing. Vexter went very still. Around the chamber, delegates were reconsidering the human before them. Did you save them? Crix asked. All of them. The children, everyone. Maya smiled, and for the first time since entering the chamber, it reached her eyes. The reactor held long enough for evacuation ships to arrive. Some of those children are serving on human starships now. The apex pup reached out and deliberately placed his paw over her scarred hand. Then you were forged in battle, not against enemies with weapons, but against fire, time, and fear. he said, voice carrying the weight of understanding far beyond his years. Among my people, scars are stories written on the body. Yours tell of sacrifice, duty, love for those you protected. The Apex do not hide our scars. We wear them with honor, because they remind us who we were in our worst moments and who we chose to be. Maya felt her throat tighten. She'd received medals, commendations, even offers of experimental regenerative treatments to restore her hands. She'd refused them all, never quite able to explain why. An elderly Apex matriarch rose from the council seats, silver fur marking her standing. The pup speaks wisdom, she said, voice resonating through the chamber. I see now that humanity has sent us not their damaged, but their proven. One who has been tested by fire and emerged tempered like the finest blade. She fixed Vexter with a stare that made the general shrink slightly. General, you mistake scars for weakness. But among warriors, they are currency of a different kind. They are proof. Vexter's scales paled to a sickly gray. He managed a stiff bow. I spoke in ignorance. Forgive me. Maya nodded, accepting the apology without gloating. Victory took many forms, and she had learned patience in that reactor chamber along with pain. Crix still held her hand, looking up at her with unmistakable admiration. When I am grown, he said solemnly, and if battle scars me, I will remember the human who burned so others might live, and I will not hide what I have endured. Then perhaps, Maya said softly, when you are grown, we might serve together. The scourge are still out there. Humanity could use warriors who understand that true strength isn't the absence of scars, but the will to bear them with purpose. The Apex matriarch smiled, showing teeth that could rend steel. I believe, Ambassador Halt, that we have much to discuss regarding this alliance. The Concordance has grown comfortable in peace. You remind us that some things are worth burning for. As the council session resumed, Maya felt Crix's paw squeeze her hand once more before he returned to his seat. She caught his eye across the chamber and saw the reflection of something she'd carried alone for 3 years. The knowledge that scars are not endings, but maps of survival. The general had mocked her burned hands, but a pup had seen the truth written in her skin. She had been forged in battle, tempered by fire, and emerged stronger than before. And sometimes that recognition from an unlikely source was worth more than all the regeneration chambers in the galaxy. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.